Hello. I had this roasted pear chicken, and I've been eating on it for a while. And most people would just throw the carcass away. But you know, there's a lot of meat still left on there. You can make soups, all kind of stuff. And I've got a wing. I've got the main body with a thigh. Just gonna throw all that in there. And I want to get all that goodness from the bottom of the bag, all of those drippings that have kind of turned to jelly. Because that's where all your flavor is going to be. So you want to get all that out of your bag. As much of it as possible. I know you can't get it all. That's all your broth down in there that we want. Then you just toss the bag. But this is making the most of your food. And with this day and time, the prices on food, you've got to make the best of it. And I'm just going to add water to cover my chicken, turn my burner on. Got a leaky. Well, I got water back there and I didn't mean to. But now I'm going to add a few things. I forgot my onion powder. I gotta go get that. And I should have had that already, I know, but you know me, I'm not a very organized person. Where's my onion salt? Salt, it's onion powder. Just plain old onion powder. Put about a half a teaspoon of that in there. Maybe not quite that much. About half a teaspoon of garlic. And this is just minced garlic that you buy in the jar. little bit of salt. Not too much. I can always add more later. And pepper. And I've got a mess here because I've been digging out old jars and washing them and putting them on the counter over here to dry till I get ready to use them. Now we're going to let that cook a bit. Just bring it to a boil and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. But you know, normally people would throw that away, the whole chicken carcass. But there was a lot of meat still left on that bone. I basically ate the breast, the legs, the one thigh, the rest, the wings, the whole carcass, one thigh. Part of the breast meat was still on there too, so there's still a lot of meat on there, enough to make the dish that I'm making. I've got so many things on my counter, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I said, I've been washing jars and I had to wash some potatoes. But we're basically going to do everything there over the stove anyway. Going to get this little bowl because I'm going to need that for later. And like I said, I'm going to bring this to a boil and then I'm going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes. And then I'll get right back with you. Well, I'm back. I'm going to take the chicken out of the pot. I can find the best way to do that, because these bones are just falling apart, because you know the rotisserie chicken was already cooked to begin with and we just put it in the pot and boiled it for about 30-40 minutes, something like that, just to get all those juices out into the liquid. I'm trying to get all the bones out of there. I don't want to leave bones in there. More bones down there than I thought. But the way the food prices are today, you want to make the most of the chicken. So I made several sandwiches with this chicken. I've eaten part of it, you know, just on a plate with other food. But while that is still cooking a little, I'm going to keep it hot, and I'm going to try to see if there's any more bones in there. I don't want bones left in here. I'm also going to take a little spoon and taste it just for seasoning. And I keep running water on my counter, and I don't mean to. I got to catch it before it goes everywhere. I think it needs a little bit more salt. And see, I'm going to take my camera over here because we're going to mix up some dumplings. I'm going to put about a cupful of flour. I am going to put, well, you know what? I'm going to put some salt. Not much, just a sprig of salt. I'm going to put just a little bit, not much of sugar, about a flat teaspoonful. Stir it around. I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons. Well, it's about 3 teaspoons, so that'd be about a tablespoon of butter, some soft butter, and I'm just going to try to get this worked into my flour. And I may have to use my hands. I'm not used to using this, so. But it seems like it's going to work pretty good. If you can see what I'm doing. works pretty good. And one of my subscribers sent me this, so in fact there's 2 of them. So that works pretty good. Get my milk. I forgot to get my milk. I'm going to put just a little bit of water. Because that evaporated milk is kind of strong. And I need my dough a little bit softer. Because we're not going to roll this out on the counter or anything like that. I think that's plenty of water. Just got to get it mixed up good. Boy, this little thing is a lifesaver. I think I'm going to like these little things to make pastry. Let's come back over here. Because I am going to add about a tablespoon of chicken bouillon. I do need to add a little bit of water. Because those dumplings will soak up the water. Maybe 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon. Or 1.5. That should be plenty. Now I got my dough. And as I said, we're not going to put this out and roll it out or anything like that. We got to have our pot boiling. We're also going to strip off any chicken that's left on this Because you'd be surprised, there's still quite a bit of chicken on this. I don't like skin, and I don't like all that other stuff in my chicken. And a lot of it cooks off and just stays in the pot, you know, when I pick out the bones. So that's good too. But you want to get the best of your chicken. The way prices are, you don't want to waste anything. Quite a bit of meat right on that little piece of neck bone. But you do have to get your fingers into it. Ooh, it's hot. A little bit hot. See if I can find a piece that's cooled off. That piece is a little hot because that was the thigh. Breathing the vapors from the pot, making me cough. Those spices. Spices and the pepper. This is what I call spoon dumplings. Just get you a good rounded tablespoonful and drop them in your water. Mix it up a little bit, get some of the air bubbles out. Or you can make little bitty dumplings, you can make big ones. These are kind of big. Because they'll swell up 2 or 3 times the size. So if you want little ones, just put them in basically by the small teaspoonful. Put your lid on. But you don't want to stir them because that'll break them. Put your lid on and that way it'll cook the top of them. And this is going to go outside for the dogs or whatever wants to eat it. You can kind of push them down under the water, but you don't want to stir because it'll break them up. And it only takes about 10-15 minutes for it to cook. And you might not want to even make your dough as wet as I did, just make it a little bit drier. But putting the lid on it causes the steam at the top, and the steam in the top of the pot, the hot steam and moisture, will cook the top of your dumplings. And you also can make your dumplings for your greens the same way. Just put a little bit of cornmeal in them, and then your flour, your shortening. You don't want to overcook them, because if you overcook them, all of your dough is going to come apart. And I'm just basically pushing them down a little. I'm not stirring, I'm just pushing them down under the liquid. Just a little. But this is a way you can make a bigger dumpling with your chicken. You can tell what kind of spices I use. Look how yellow. Look how yellow my plastic spatula has turned from the turmeric. And I can't get it off. I've scrubbed it and scrubbed it, but it's dyed my spoon. But it doesn't hurt the spoon, so. Now you may have one or two that will come apart, and that's perfectly normal. But for the most part, they will cook and stay in a solid ball, so to speak. But how inexpensive is that? You're taking your chicken roast sear that was already cooked. You've eaten sandwiches off of it. You've eaten whole pieces of chicken off of it. And then you took the remaining carcass and just throw it in the pot. Boil it for about 30 minutes. Take all your bones out and your skin and stuff like that that you don't want in there. Throw that back in the pot. Make your dumplings and just spoon them in there. You don't have to roll them out on the counter or anything. Just spoon them in, and you got your chicken and dumplings. Just that easy. And I've got my counter full of watermelon rind jam. I've got several jars of basil, dried basil from the garden. So I've been busy. I went to bed like 2 or 3 this morning. Had a hard time going to sleep. Finally I fell asleep. And do you know what? It was noon. It was straight up noon today when I woke up. And I woke up because somebody was knocking on my door. If it had not been for someone knocking on my door, I'd probably still been asleep. Now, I'm turning my pot off. I don't want it to cook anymore. And those dumplings are going to soak up that liquid while I'm just letting it sit there. And then we can dip them out and put them in our bowl. But you know, you come up with all different ways to stretch your food, to make it last longer, to do more with it, especially with the prices today. I do the same with my turkey at Thanksgiving. I take that turkey carcass, I cut it in half, I put it in freezer bags and I throw it in the freezer. That way I can take it out and make turkey soup with the bones. I can make turkey and pastry. I can make turkey and gravy to go on dressing. And most of the time people just throw that carcass away, and there's a lot of meat on there. There's a lot of good benefits to boiling those bones because you get good benefits from the bones. The bone broth. And people don't realize that. I know years ago I used to throw my carcass away. You know, my turkey carcass. I didn't save it. But I don't throw any of them away now. I make good use of all of them. So just let it sit there for a few minutes. It's got to quit boiling. And I'm looking for my... I got to get something to wet my throat here. Yeah, that's what my channel was all about. Cooking what you can grow. I mean, growing stuff in your garden to eat. So you don't have to pay extremely high prices at the store. That's what the composting in place was all about. So you don't have to buy so many bags of potting mix. Growing what you can eat, and then, you know, as the food comes in from the garden, I was going to show you how to cook that food, or how I do, and different ways that you can prepare it. Just that, like that watermelon. I mean, look how much I got out of that watermelon. That one small, I mean, it wasn't real small, it was like a medium-sized watermelon. I got to eat a lot of it, just fresh watermelon. I made watermelon lemonade, which I've still got some in the freezer. And I made watermelon slushy. And I've got some of that in frozen still in the in the I'm sorry, y'all. And I've got some of that in the freezer in the ice trays. So y'all have a mortgage. Watch what you do with your food. Stretch your food out as far as you can. That way you're not paying as much for your food. You got more to pay against that mortgage you've got. Don't wait and pay it off in your 30 years that it's mortgaged for. Try to pay it off in 15. Watch everything you spend. Watch what you're doing with your food. Stretch your food out. Do as much with your food as possible. And get that mortgage paid off. I mean, why go 30 years paying for a house when you can pay it off in 15 if you watch what you're spending? And if you don't just throw all your money away in food. Because a lot of people, a lot of their food goes in the garbage. That's money right there that you could be paying on your mortgage, get your mortgage paid off for your home and be debt free. Or the same way with a car. Watch what you spend. Take every dime possible and pay on that car note. And I guarantee you, you'll be glad you did. Because you're not only paying it off early, but you're saving all that interest. Because if your car is stretched out for a 4-year note, guess what? If you pay it off in 3 years, you get a ton of that money back toward that note that you would have paid in interest. You're saving a lot of money. The same way on that house mortgage. If you can pay it off in 15 years instead of 30, you're paying it off and saving a lot of interest on the mortgage. Realtors don't like for you to do that. Mortgage lenders don't like for you to pay stuff off early, because the longer it takes you to pay for something, the more money they make. So I'm all for paying stuff off. So you can take that with a grain of salt. Okay, let's see. I'm fixing to dip me up some of my chicken and pastry. Trying to get a couple of big pieces of meat too. But there you go, y'all. Chicken and dumplings the easy way. And there is meat in there. See that slice of meat right there on the side? So don't think you're not getting meat. And I tell you right now, this is some good eating. And it's too hot for me to put in my mouth. So I'm going to offer y'all a bite. Take a bite of that dumpling. Don't that look good? Mmm. A little bit hot. And normally I would put my butter in my chicken broth, but when I make dumplings like this, I'd rather put the butter in the dumpling because it gives the dumpling a buttery taste when you eat it, and it's so good. You would not believe how good this is. And I forgot to bless the YouTubers. Dear Lord, bless this food I'm about to eat. Bless all the YouTubers out there in YouTube land. Keep them safe, happy, and healthy. Amen. You see, there's a big slice of chicken right there. And it's steaming hot. Y'all take a bite. That is winning, y'all. That is winning. So, don't waste your food. Make the best of your food when you buy it at the store. I mean, shop smart. Cook smart. And pay off that mortgage. Pay off that car debt. You'll be so happy you did. I got mine paid off that way. The only thing I owe right now is just a little bit, tiny smidgen on the credit card. And I get that paid off. I'm debt free basically. Other than my utilities, oh my God, if you can pay your utilities, you don't need another mortgage or a car payment to make. The utilities and maintenance and day-to-day stuff is what eats your paycheck up. I mean, by the time my check gets to the bank, it's gone. It's gone in a water bill, electric bill, gas bill, sanitation bill, insurance for the house, insurance for the car. Not to mention when maintenance comes up for the car, when you got to have cabin filters, air filters, oil changes, brake fluid transfers, and all that kind of stuff. It gets up there. I mean, it's expensive, so you got to watch what you spend. So with that, I'm going to wish y'all a good day. I'm going to sit down here and eat my bowl of chicken and dumplings. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye now.